How about Austin Dillon in the position that he's running in, currently fourth, Jeff?
We have a lot of cars and drivers toward the front of the pack that are looking for their first win. And if Austin Dillon's going to make that today, he needs to do a little bit better on the restart. He's got to get himself in position. You can see right here he had the outside line, which is a line that you want. But as Denny Hamlin leaves, look at the gap he gets between he and Austin. So now Austin enters turn one, a car length, 2 car lengths further behind than he needs to, and now the 4-car Kevin Harvick does not have to race him. So, going into this next restart, Austin Dillon's got to do a better job. Needs to enter turn one right on the bumper of will be the 4-car if he's going to have a chance to win this race.
Yeah, and as we see now, Austin Dillon sitting on pit road. NASCAR's brought the cars down pit road. They're going to bring the jet dryers out to put a little temperature in the track. But if Austin Dillon can win his first Cup week, it'd be a great weekend. Won the Xfinity race Friday night. Got engaged earlier in the week. He's had a whole lot going on Friday night, and he mentioned, I don't think he had the best car, but we saw Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski have good cars, make contact late, 22 runs out of gas. Really, Austin said, he was patient. He stuck around, gave himself an opportunity, and with the late restart in NASCAR overtime, he goes on to win the Xfinity race.
The key at Bristol is having yourself in position. We've seen a lot of drivers win races that win very few laps, especially at this racetrack, because so many things happen. So if he wants to be back in victory lane, he's going to need to have a good restart, and then it's going to be hard to beat Kevin Harvick. Kevin Harvick's exceptionally fast, but...
My brother and I have always been rivals. We would dream about racing each other in Monaco. We were born brothers. Competition made us friends. Wishbolt in a 2017 Camry. Toyota. Let's go places.
Sir, this alien life form is growing at an alarming rate.
Growing fast, you say?
We can't contain it any longer.
You know, that reminds me of how Geico's been the fastest growing auto insurer for over 10 years straight.
Over 10 years?
Mm-hmm. Geico's the company your friends and neighbors trust.
And deservedly so.
Indeed.
Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more.
Thursday, September 8th on NBC, NFL football is back. The celebration begins in Denver with live performances by OneRepublic and Dierks Bentley. Then, the season kicks off with a Super Bowl rematch from Mile High. Panthers, Broncos. And away we go. We're back to football. NFL kickoff. Thursday, September 8th on NBC. We're back to football. The celebration begins with live performances by OneRepublic and Dierks Bentley. Then it's a Super Bowl rematch. Panthers, Broncos, NFL kickoff. Thursday, September 8th on NBC.
Welcome back to Bristol. The cars parked on pit road while the jet dryers are just trying to get a little bit of moisture that was put down, taken off the track. So drivers have to stay with their cars, which is a good sign, meaning that they hope this will be going back to green shortly. We have an opportunity. We can chat with Austin Dillon, driver of the number 3.
Hey, Austin, it's Jeff up in the booth. You with us?
Yes, sir. I got you there.
Well, you've had a great week. You got engaged. You won the Xfinity race Friday night. What's it going to take to cap the week off?
Man, I don't know. We haven't had the best car all day, but we're still in the race, kind of like the Xfinity race. Just kind of staying up here and focus on trying to make it better each time we come down pit road. Slugger and the guys are doing a good job, and my pit crew really picked us up that last pit stop. So I'm proud of them and trying to finish it off here. Maybe have a shot at this thing.
Well, we talked about the last restart, needing to have a little better restart. Explain to the fans why it is so difficult to restart when you're in 3rd or 4th place.
Well, you just got to time it really good. The top seems to gain the momentum down the front stretch, but my car was a little tight when I got to turn 1 and couldn't get through there as good as I wanted to, but I just need to time it a little better. I might be able to clear 2nd this next time. So just trying to stay focused here. And been a long weekend, but it sure would pay off to come home where we're at right now. Or better.
You feel like you're in a lane you want to be in, though? You'll probably restart in the outside lane. You think that's where you want to be?
I think so. I think you get that momentum kind of rolling off the corner, and if you have to get down, you have the option of getting down or staying up. So it'll be interesting. The bottom seems to hold on for about 20, 30 laps, and then the top starts coming in. So every time it seems like we've restarted, the track has changed. That one long run felt like the top got too rubbered up, and you saw some guys make some momentum on the bottom. That's when our car kind of got better.
Awesome. Thank you for you and your team taking time to talk to the fans a little bit, and good luck.
Thanks, Jeff.
And you see crew chiefs on their cell phone communicating as we look at the bubble drivers. Look at where they're running. Austin Dillon, 13th in the chase standings, running 4th. Newman, 27th. Kyle Larson, 25th.
Rick, it just seems like Austin Dillon is going up and doing what he needs to do. And what I mean by that, he's taking the positions. It's, Watkins Glen, we saw points lost late. Indianapolis, we saw some accidents late in that race. It hurt a lot of the bubble drivers. So, it seems like even as the pressure mounts to make the chase, no one has just reached up and kind of grabbed the opportunity yet. We see, I don't want to call them mistakes, because accidents sometimes can be of somebody else's doing, but just a lot of teams not capitalizing on the opportunity.
And again, under a hopefully slight delay, as they are drying the track. It stopped raining, so the track drying underway did not lose the track, so it wasn't so bad that it will take the 40 minutes that it had taken earlier to dry the track. It should just be a few more moments before they're able to let the cars get going once again, rolling around the track. 55 laps to go in this one. The guy out front is Kevin Harvick. We can also chat with him. Jeff, why don't you dial up the 4?
Hey, Kevin, it's Jeff. You got a moment to talk to us?
Sure.
You sure sound calm with only 55 to go. It seems like you have a really fast race car. What's it going to take to finish this thing off?
I think getting the lead was important to get control of the restarts. The bottom's obviously spinning the tires pretty bad. So hopefully that'll get us a good restart and, just try not to come off the bottom for a few laps and get control of the race there. So I think that's the key, is keeping control of the race and see where it goes from there.
Well, you got a lot of new cars around you because things have changed so much. Have you had time to evaluate the people behind you, really, and understand who you think the cars to beat are?
I just don't want to beat ourselves at this particular point. Obviously anything can happen, so just try to control the things that we can with our Bush Beer Chevy and not make any mistakes and go from there.
Well, thank you, Kevin, for taking some time, and good luck.
Thank you.
Kevin Harvick has been out front for 73 laps today. Kyle Busch had led 256 before part broke in his car. It's shown a pretty dominant race car, but now it's Kevin Harvick that looks like he is the strongest car on the track.
And, to remind our fans, everyone that is in the chase, those wins, 3 bonus points in round 1. So you look at Kevin Harvick last year, had a little bit of a slow start, made Dover a must-win for the 4. He did win that race in advance, but if he could win here today, or Denny Hamlin behind him, Jimmy Johnson behind him, those 3 cars, they want to win just as bad as Austin Dillon does to get his first win because of those bonus points. Everyone knows how fragile these rounds of the chases are. If you have an issue, if you have any sort of mechanical or a crash, you're going to need all the bonus points you can to try to guarantee moving through round 1.
We've heard from Kevin Harvick. We've heard from Austin Dillon. How about we chat with Denny Hamlin as well?
Hey, Denny, it's Jeff. You got a moment to talk? So you guys made a great strategy call, put 2 tires on. How's that working out for you?
It's not bad. Our car's actually been pretty good on the short run. We felt the balance on the long run, so we're going to have 50-lap shootout here. A little bit of a tire disadvantage with the guys around us, but I think our car is fast enough where we can still hang in there and try to challenge for the win.
Well, it seemed inside lane, very difficult on restarts. Even leaving, when you first leave, not just when you get to turn 1, it's difficult to get leaving. What are you going to do to try to combat that?
Try to do the best that I can. Everyone's been struggling with it for sure. For whatever reason, it just seems like that bottom line needs heat for the tires to grip to it. So I'm sure it's not going to be any better here after this race.
All right, good luck to you and your team.
Still amazes me how much access we're able to have to these drivers, and
we
with
just
50-some laps to go.
Just talked to 3 of the top 4.
Yeah.
So in the heat of the battle, these guys trying to win this race, and as you just mentioned, Steve, winning this race means a lot. You know, I think people, when you win a race, they think, well, it doesn't matter anymore. You just go experiment, and it doesn't matter if you win. It does matter. Those bonus points are huge. We've seen the championship won by 1 point, a tie. So points matter. So being able to get these bonus points, and then for Austin Dillon, how big would it be to win a race? So for those drivers to take time to talk to us is unbelievable.
Let's listen back into the 3 radio.
Right there in front of you, all won races this year. So, you know, they really ain't got nothing to lose. And make this change here, winning is going to be way easier pointing in.
Right now, Austin Dillon has the most points of the drivers looking to point their way in.
I love listening in there, but I'm not sure what to take. Does that mean be careful of the top 3, or you can push the top 3?
Be aggressive around the top 3.
Well, those guys, one thing's for sure, those guys have a lot to gain by bonus points, but they have nothing to lose. Right. So, but Austin Dillon does have a little bit to lose. Right now, as it goes, he's 56 points good to making the chase. You don't want to give that up, but winning immediately puts you in.
Kevin Harvick mentioned being in control, very important. He's the control car as they re-enter the restart zone.
Good restart by Austin.
Austin trying to clear the 11 of Denny Hamlin, going through 1 and 2.
Did exactly what he needed to do. Now he's in position.
Great restart for Austin Dillon. Denny Hamlin trying to hang on to that 3rd spot now. As here comes Ricky Stenhouse Jr. on the high side. He's trying to take 3rd away.
You know, you mentioned earlier about how hard the 17 was driving into the corner. It's not just on corner entries. You see he drives away from the 11. Just it seems like there's a lot of aggression. He knows this is one of his best racetracks. A win here is really, I feel, his best, maybe his only option before the chase.
Up high on the racetrack goes the 17 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Battle for the lead. Austin Dillon to the bottom of the racetrack. Kevin Harvick up high.
One thing we don't know is these cars sat for a long time. Air pressure changes. They weren't able to put tires on. Weren't able to make air pressure adjustments. So those cars sitting may favor some cars more than others.
So we're continuing to look at the bottom of the racetrack. Harvick running up high. Just how close they are, averaging over 130 miles an hour around this half mile.
Think about these young drivers. You know, 2 of the top 3 are young drivers without a Cup win. Imagine what they feel like right now with less than 50 to go. They can see the leader at Bristol.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. still without a win. His best finish came at Bristol back in 2014, a 2nd place finish. Austin Dillon, his career best finish is 3rd at Talladega earlier this year.
He rode along there with Kevin Harvick. You can hear him have to get out of the throttle. He was not able to be in the throttle and stay in it. So that tells me that with a little bit of rain, he's also a little bit of handling with his car.
Harvick, Dillon, Stenhouse Jr., Hamlin, Buescher. Can't forget about Chris Buescher and the day he has had. After winning at Pocono, needing to get into the top 30, now running in the top 5 in this race, top 30 in points. Let's talk about strategy. We're now under 43 to go. Brought to you by Smithfield Foods.
Rick, we've talked about how important what lane you are on the restart. It seems like the top lane has really been dominant. But then short run speed versus long run speed. Before Kevin Harvick, it takes a few laps for him to get going. But after 8 or 10 laps, he seems to pull away from the field. The 17 is the opposite. He seems to fire off really good on the restart. Will he have some more cautions? Will restarts and then short run speed come into effect?
That'll be the big question. Will we have another restart? Will we have another caution? Denny Hamlin able to fight past the 3.
So Austin Dillon did everything he needed to do on the restart. It's just his car just not quite good enough to stay where he needs to be. If he can hold Chris Buescher behind him, then he will have another shot if we get another caution to restart in that 4th position again, which I think is better than starting 2nd or 3rd.
And how about Chris Buescher, Jeff? Never having a top 10 in the Sprint Cup Series until he wins the rain-short race at Pocono, backing that up with a top 5 run currently at Bristol.
Jamie McMurray right behind him needed solid finishes to put himself into the playoff situation. So all these cars having really good days and big implications for all of them.
And all these points to be gained here, Jamie Murray among them. They need points because these are guys trying to point their way into the chase. And how about the recovery for the guy right in front of him, Chris Bush? Remember, came in fourth a moment ago, got too close to the wall, came out 12th. He was able to make his way back up to the field, so a nice recovery for Chris Busher. And the two guys in second and third right now, yes, those are the same two guys who got speeding penalties on the first stop of the day today. They have rallied back. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Denny Hamlin now with a shot to win this race after penalties early on. And one real quick note, guys, we saw on the bubble earlier how Kyle Larson fallen so far behind. They had a cut oil line. They had to replace that on pit road when we went back to green here a moment ago. So that's why Kyle Larson fell back so many spots.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. spent many laps, 2 laps down, 64 laps of this race. And now has been able to battle back, as has Denny Hamlin, who was also 2 laps down. Battled back and running second and third. But Kevin Harvick has definitely been the strongest today, especially late in this race. Now a 2.5 lead over Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
As we see the 4 car out behind the 4 car, a couple lap down cars, that's going to continue to be an issue for the 4. Although he's done a great job, but the first 3 had the lap actually pulling away from the 17 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr., extending his lead.
And it's a little easier for Kevin Harvick. You would think as a leader, drivers would race him harder, not trying to go a lap down. But with these 2 guys, Stenhouse really has to pay attention to when he tries to make the move, because if he does it at the wrong time, the 11 will sneak by him. So he can't just drive it in there wherever he wants to. He has to be a little bit smarter than Kevin. Kevin can drive without having to play defense at all.
Kevin Harvick, a bad qualifying day on Friday, had him starting 24th. He's been able to overcome that, work his way up to the front. Now in the lead, under 30 laps to go from Bristol to get his second Bristol win. That was the 11 radio, Denny Hamlin. The gap, 2.7 seconds between Harvick and Hamlin.
Jeff, how much of it's just rhythm? How much are you listening to your spotter, or how much is it just natural instinct as you catch these lap cars? Do you just understand trying to get the timing right, catching them off the corner on corner entry, not catching them in the middle of the corner?
So it's Kevin Harvick. You see him in the middle of the corner. He's catching the 78 who had a lot of problems. He is already thinking about what do I need to do with the 78? He's been watching where the 78's been running, been watching where the 21's running. You don't get to that car, then decide how to pass them. You've been paying attention for several laps as they get closer to you. The rhythm matters. This is a rhythm racetrack because it's so fast. I mean, you're running 15.5-second laps around a half-mile racetrack with a lot of other cars on the racetrack with you. So that rhythm that you get in is so important.
Currently 18 cars on the lead lap. Kevin Harvick just 25 laps to go. McMurray running 6th, Jimmy Johnson 7th, Carl Edwards 8th, AJ Allmendinger a top 10 run, running 9th, Joey Logano in 10th. Logano had won the last 2 night races at Bristol, and now all the way back in 10th for this year's. Kevin Harvick, the champion in the Sprint Cup Series, 40-year-old out of Bakersfield, California, only 1 previous Bristol win.
And Rick, this is really the 2nd race in a row we've seen at Bristol where there are names maybe we didn't expect to be in the top 10, whether it's the unique track that maybe it's not all about horsepower and downforce, whether it's some of the accidents we've seen. You look back in the top 10, we see names. AJ Allmendinger with a good run. Trevor Bayne just outside the top 10 and 12. Good runs. You go back to the spring. Some unique names up in the top 5 and top 10.
We saw Matt DiBenedetto have a top 10 finish. He was 6th in the spring. Trevor Bayne also with a strong finish earlier in the spring. As you mentioned, though, just outside the top 10.
And Matt DiBenedetto today, he's running 17. So again, he's having another good run.
Parker.
Kevin Harvick is in the lead, and as you mentioned, he's won here before. But his crew chief, Rodney Childers, has not. And he told me yesterday before the race, he said, 4 out of 5 times I've been here, Kevin, I felt like we could win. I think of 90% of the races I've run here, I finished in the top 3. This is a huge race for me personally. I want to win this race, and I want to win it with Kevin Harvick, the coming coach here tonight.
One thing that has never happened here is Stewart-Haas Racing has never won at Bristol. That could change if Kevin Harvick's able to stay out front for the next 18 laps.
Think about momentum. All we've heard for the last 2 months has been Joe Gibbs Racing with a little bit of Penske sprinkled in. Well, Stewart-Haas Racing, they want to win a championship. They want to contend in the chase. They've obviously been working very, very hard, as does every race team, to try to get their cars better. But nothing is better than success. That's the ultimate momentum in racing.
And you and I just talked about it the other day. We were a little worried about this 4 car. We were a little bit worried that it hadn't had the speed that we're accustomed to seeing Kevin Harvick go out and lead laps and dominate practice and do all those things. But today he's serving notice that they are a real threat to win this championship.
Good to get by Brian Scott, a lap down car, looking to get past the 23 of David Reagan, also laps down.
Now with 15 to go, Kevin Harvick is just wanting to see this thing finish under green. He has a decent 2-second lead, so he can pick and choose his moments with lap cars a little more carefully. Doesn't have to put his car in bad situations, but he definitely doesn't want another restart, Jeff.
And I don't think he's the only one that wants to see this thing win. If you think about Austin Dillon, Chris Buescher, Jamie McMurray, these are all guys that now aren't in position to win unless something crazy happens, but they don't want something bad to happen. They got the points they need right now, so they're just wanting no caution and have this thing in. Now, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., he's hoping for a caution. He's hoping for something to happen that could be magical on a late race restart.
You mentioned Joe Gibbs Racing and Penske. Those two organizations have been dominant here in the Toyotas and Chevy or Fords. But how about Chevrolet? They have 43 wins here, but the last one came back in 2004. That last night race came back in 2004, and it was Dale Jr. who won. And amazingly enough, the night race that started in the day is going to end as a night race again.
Well, we ran 37 laps
last night, but obviously, as we're closing in on 7:35 here on the East Coast, 10 laps to go. It is once again a night race. Dave.
Second good run of the year at Bristol for A.J. Allmendinger, currently ninth. The first one was spoiled by a loose wheel, but he was very fast. And 20 years ago this week, his team owners, Tad and Jody Geschichter, won their very first race with Jeff Fuller in what is now the Xfinity Series. Another strong run for this team tonight.
Rick with 9 to go. The 4 of Kevin Harvick does have a 2-second lead, but look at the traffic. He has the 83 side-by-side with the 42 and the 38. He's going to have to find his way through here, and as these cars are side-by-side, it's going to cost him a lot of time quickly, Jeff.
It is going to cost him a lot of time, and about a 2-second differential right now between Harvick and Stenhouse.
We'll see if he can negotiate his way through. Navigate through all of the lap traffic in front of him. As Kevin Harvick trying to hang on. Under 7 laps to go. Now he goes to the bottom of the track. On the right side, pretty good battle for the 4th position. Austin Dillon, Chris Buescher. Dillon trying to hold off Chris Buescher. Buescher with an incredible run today at Bristol. Trying to back up that run that he had when he won at Pocono 2 races ago.
How about Chris Buescher? He won that race a few weeks ago. Now he's battling Jimmy Johnson, a 6-time champion, for a top 5 at Bristol.
Well, those are 2 Xfinity Series champions you see on the right side of the screen in front of 2 Sprint Cup Series champions in Jimmy Johnson and Carl Edwards. 1 Sprint Cup Series. I want to give Carl Edwards, you know, he's tied in the points. I want to give him that championship.
Tony
so
Stewart
bad.
for the championship. Tony Stewart got the nod on the most wins that season. Kevin Harvick, though, is a champion out front, trying to get another Bristol win.
It's fair to say he's a championship caliber driver.
Absolutely.
Not a doubt.
Under 3 laps to go, and it happens fast. 15-second laps. This one will be over in 45 seconds or less. Trying to get by the 83 of Matt Benedetto. 2 laps remaining. The gap between Harvick and Stenhouse Jr. still about 1.8 seconds. Harvick just trying to get through this last lap. White flag in the air. One more time around. Kevin Harvick down the backstretch for the final time. Through 3 and 4. Harvick's going to win at the last great Coliseum. Harvick wins at Bristol.
Awesome job, guys. Awesome job. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Almost a 24-hour delay from the time that this race was supposed to start last night until the finish tonight. Kevin Harvick wins at Bristol. Just Harvick's second win at Bristol. It's been quite some time since that last win. Back in 2005. And the first time that Stewart-Haas Racing has won at Bristol. And paying respect to co-owner Tony Stewart making his final Bristol start. Kevin Harvick wants to have him join him in a victory lap.
You want a picture right with me? Right with you.
He's trying to get in right with him. You know, when you're a driver next to another driver, he's pointing at you, waving at you. It's hard to know exactly what he wants.
So he's like, well,
you want to fight or what?
I didn't hit you.
That's right.
Teammates.
Let's do this thing.
Now he's got it. Now he's got it.
Let's go. There we go. Kevin Harvick, what a class act. Kevin Harvick just won at Bristol. A racetrack that every driver wants to be able to win at. And now he wants Tony Stewart to join him on a victory lap.
Tony's first got to go through the lug nut inspection area. They'll get Harvick to the lane.
What a day it's been for Kevin Harvick. Said he got here a little after lunchtime. They were hoping that this race would get underway at 1 o'clock. The rains came back, delayed it, and now the fans will have one more chance to honor the driver of the 14, Tony Stewart, in his final Bristol start. And they'll do donuts together.
Tony talked about how much his racetrack meant to him. He would miss this racetrack, you know, and to be able to do a burnout, not as the driver, but as the owner of the car that just won. That's pretty special.
Kevin Harvick is celebrating at Bristol. The moment presented by Sunoco, fueling victories all season long.
So much respect between those two drivers. They both drive very much alike. They're both aggressive drivers. They do not take anything for granted. Work very hard.
Kevin Harvick will climb out and grab the checkered flag. Oh, about the fans, too. Expecting a night race, a Saturday night race at Bristol. It has become a Sunday night race. So the fans that were able to stick around and enjoy this race, what a treat they're getting.
And those fans that stuck around through what was a 100% rain forecast.
Right.
No, that was.
Now Kevin Harvick will make his way onto a very unique victory lane area. Actually atop the media center here at Bristol Motor Speedway. While he's getting up there, we'll take a quick break and be right back to Thunder Valley.
Practice went okay. If it keeps pushing like that, what do you...
Let's do this.
let's go places.
Geico Motorcycle. We're back to football. The celebration begins with live performances by One Republic and Dirks Bentley. Then it's a Super Bowl rematch. Panthers, Broncos, NFL kickoff. Thursday, September 8th on NBC.
Harvick has made it into victory lane. And one of the more coveted trophies in all of racing. If you could win at Bristol. This is one of the racetracks so historic, such a incredible history at this track of the guys who've been able to win. They want to win championships. Kevin Harvick already a champion in the sport, and now his second Bristol win, and he's climbing out of the car. Bristol. Parker.
Kevin Harvick spraying the Busch beer everywhere here in victory lane at Bristol. Started 24th this race, came back to win. Kevin, talk to me about that moment with your friend, your boss, your teammate Tony Stewart there doing that lap and doing victory burnouts together.
Yeah, I wanted him to go on a victory lap with me and say goodbye to all the fans one last time here at Bristol, but that was pretty cool, doing burnouts with him. Got to thank Busch Beer, Jimmy John's, Chevrolet, Mobile One, Ditech, Outback, Hunt Brothers, Morton Billings, Bad Boy, everybody at Stewart Haas Racing on this Chevrolet. We should have won a lot of races this year, and we just had things not go our way, made mistakes, or whatever the case may be, but to get back in victory lane here at Bristol feels really good. We've had some good cars here over the last few years, and to have Busch Beer on the car, we've had some crap luck with these guys on the car. Just really happy for Busch and Jimmy John's, and really for all these guys on the 4 team.
You mentioned you should have won more races in this time. Your last win was at Phoenix back in the spring. Does this give you the momentum going into the chase you need?
Well, we knew we had the performance that we needed to have in the cars pretty much every week. And it's been one of those deals where, just things have not gone exactly right. But, to have the win now and try to get that momentum before we get into the chase and get things rolling is really what we needed.
Kevin Harvick is your winner at Bristol. Mike?
Parker, another amazing moment in Tony Stewart's final season. That was organic. I know it just came up out of nowhere, that burnout at the end, but what did that mean to you, having Kevin ask you to do that with him?
That's cool. The funny part was he got out of his car, got the flag, and then he goes, "Get in my car and go to victory lane with me." I'm like, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, just leave yours here." I'm like, "I just can't leave my car there." But that was cool. It's I'm happy for these guys. This is a hard place to win at. There's so many things that can go wrong, and all it takes is one thing. And I mean, we had a wheel that was loose, and that messed our whole day up. So it was cool sharing that moment with him, though.
You can understand why you'd want to share that moment, a victory for your team as well, the Stewart Haas team.
Yeah, like I say, I'm proud of these guys. They, I don't know how far the last guy is that came from 24th to win a race, but Kevin did it today. So really proud of those guys, that whole Busch team, and our Haas Automation Chevy was fun today too. It just, unfortunately, the part of the race where we were running really hard wasn't the part of the race that counted for us. So we just had a good time and enjoyed it.
I know this track was one of your favorites. What does it mean to say farewell?
Well, I'll see it in the spring. I'll be back here. I just won't wear a helmet when I come back here. So, it was cool. This place is so much fun. I told myself the last 10 laps, we weren't racing anybody. There wasn't anybody around us. I said, just enjoy these last 10 and just savor the moment and think about it. So that's what I did. I really thought about what I was doing those last 10 laps and just kind of soaked it all in.
Thank you for your time.
Thanks.
Tony Stewart, gracious.
And last night they paid tribute to Tony at the 14th lap of the race. It happened last night. Everyone held up a card with the number 14 on it. So Tony Stewart, obviously an emotional time for him. The last 10 laps here, just able to enjoy.
It's so difficult when you're at the end of your career and you're leaving a racetrack that you love racing. And you heard that emotion from Tony, and taking time to savor it, enjoying victory lane with Kevin. Pretty cool.
Let's go to Marty.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. ties a career best here at Bristol, and what a comeback for this race team after the speeding penalty in that first stop of the day to be able to come back and finish second. But how frustrating was it at the end to see that so close, the chase berth right up there, if you could just pass Kevin Harvick?
Yeah, it was frustrating. Starting sixth on that last restart with him starting on the front row was tough. I knew we were going to have to hit everything perfect, and it took me a minute to get the top going, but I wanted to give up there when we were 2 down. But I remembered we had Brian Clausen's tribute card here, and his favorite helmet, and I dug deep, and the guys dug deep and made a lot of changes, made our Fastenal Ford a lot better, and we really wanted to park in Victory Lane for his whole family and all of his friends and fans, for Tim and Di Taylor and Lauren, his fiance, came this weekend, was here yesterday and last night. So, man, we really wanted to put it in Victory Lane, but it was just a little bit short. Thought we were matching him lap times there at the end. I just needed a restart or to start a little bit closer, but definitely happy with how the weekend ended.
After the emotion of the last 2 weeks and losing a close friend like Brian was to you, how tough was it to come here and race this weekend, Ricky?
Well, it's not tough to come and race because, Brian was trying to run 200 races, so, talking to his family and his friends, he'd been disappointed if we would have come here and gave it our best effort. So, I think hanging out with the family at Knoxville and last week at the funeral was pretty good for all of us to kind of celebrate his life and talk about all the good times that we had together. And we're looking forward to Wednesday in Kokomo, Indiana, having a celebration of life for him. And a lot of good friends are going to be there. It's going to be a lot of fun.
You see the hat, the name on the roof, the helmet as well. It certainly was an emotional weekend for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and many in the sprint car open wheel world.
Yeah, again, Brian Clausen, just 27 years old when he lost his life on August 7th in a USAC midget dirt race. And, of course, it was a really impressive run for Ricky Stenhouse Jr., holding off Denny Hamlin for the second spot, racing hard to keep that position, and then trying to reel in the 4 of Kevin Harvick. A great run for Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Kyle Larson also wearing a very similar helmet. On the front, it said Chasing 200. That's what Brian Clausen set out to do in the 2016 season. He wanted to have 200 starts. That's how many races he was trying to run in the 2016 season, but that got cut short on August 7th when he lost his life. But a very impressive run for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. today. He comes home in second. Dave.
And Rick, 5th place finisher Chris Buescher and I observing that as well, and knowing that really puts things in perspective. Let's talk about your day today. Backed up your win at Pocono with a 5th place charge here at Bristol. That's not easy to do.
No, I've glad we got to run this thing. A day late, maybe, but nonetheless, an awesome run for our Loves Fusion. I had a blast out there. I love this racetrack. Love to get to come out here and be competitive. I told the guys that's the most fun I've had since Kentucky earlier this season. So, to be able to come out, keep working our way forward every time we were on the racetrack. We fire off for about 2 laps, a little bit off, and then it get to rolling real well. So, wish I had a little bit longer run there at the end, but I'm really happy with it, and you guys did a great job.
Yeah, good battle there with Austin Dillon for a little while too.
Yeah, it was tight there at the end. We might get gotten a run down the bottom a little sooner. I lost count of the laps. I went 1 lap too late, so I knew if I got to the bottom and got hung up, and the 2 guys behind us got by me, I'd be kicking myself for letting 2 points get away versus not getting that last one. So we tried. We didn't hit them, so that was a tough race, but the work they put into the bottom groove here, it worked really well. It made for some great racing. It didn't make the bottom dominant, but it made it competitive.
Hey, drivers, go down there and work it, Marty.
What a terrific recovery for Denny Hamlin and his race team. Speeding penalty, loose right rear wheel today, and 2 laps down at one point. Did you honestly think a top 3 was in the offing?
I thought so. Once we got the lucky dog and the wave around, that was important for us. Probably effort and team. It's a 3rd to 5th place cars at the most what I thought we had. We were really good on the short run, but our FedEx Express camera just needed a little bit more on the long run. It's just a little bit tight, a little bit off with our balance. Definitely got beat by the better car today, and proud of the whole team and effort for bouncing back. And another thing is proud of Ricky Stenhouse, and I know it's been a tough week for him. A couple weeks for him, and what he's doing for Brian Clausen's family, and it's a big deal, and praying for them.
I want to ask you about those final couple of laps, because on that restart, not only were you on the inside, which was a disadvantage, you also had 2 tires. Did you really feel like you had a shot against the 4 car with those 2 things going against you?
I don't think so. I think those guys had a very good car, and straight up on the short run with 4 tires and 4 tires, maybe we had a chance, but in the long run, I don't think we would have been able to hang on.
Denny Hamlin started second today. He finishes third, Dave.
Austin Dillon finishes fourth, and describe your afternoon for us.
Well, it was challenging for our Dallas Chevy. We really didn't have a car capable of winning the race, I don't think. We just struggled. My arms were wore out, I know that. But proud of the adjustments the guys made. Heck of a pit stop. My guys really helped us out with that. Gained us some spots there to have that outside restart. And it was fun there. You could tell I was a little tighter than Harvick on the bottom, so I got to him there early in the run. He jumped to the top and pulled me. So it was fun here at Bristol today. I'm glad that Bristol tried to get that bottom working in. I think we can do a little bit more for it because that top's going to be dominant as it runs. So it was a fun race.
How much was it a day, Austin, of really just searching high-low for wherever the grip was?
A big time. I mean, we had to adjust the car to get it free for the top and then back to tight on the bottom. So a lot of chasing grip. Fun racing, man. It reminds me of the dirt days, just trying to chase that grip, what we call brown. Now it's black. So a lot of fun. I thank the good Lord for keeping us out of all those wrecks. We dodged some big ones today and solid points today. Just really happy.
Ended on a top 5 run for Austin.
Let's take a look at the chase standings. Through 23 races, again, only 3 races until the chase begins. Austin Dillon, pretty good points position, 55 points in front of that cut line. The cut line changed because Chris Buescher broke into the top 30 in points. This is the first time all season long that the 34 team and Chris Buescher has been in the top 30 in points.
And as you work your way down, you see Ryan Newman in 16th. Although he had a bad day, I think he got lucky because he finished 28th, had his problem before the big wreck on the back straightaway. So that probably gained him, I don't know, maybe 10 spots, 10 points. So, when he had his problem, was advantageous.
Trevor Bayne had a decent run in 12th. Kyle Larson had his issue. Casey Kane at minus 39. You don't want to say that's insurmountable and you can't make up 39 points, but you really have to think those teams are looking ahead thinking must-wins. Going to Michigan, Darlington, Richmond. Those are 3 unique racetracks. When you look at the schedule coming up, you have 2-mile high speed, low downforce. Then we'll go to Darlington, run right against the wall, and then go to Richmond. Anything can happen at Richmond. We've seen that, but I think Kevin Harvick, really, we talk about momentum, and when you look at the chase and what's coming up, last year he had that must win at Dover. He did win. The chase tracks have some very good ones. That 3rd round is very good for Kevin Harvick, but I think this helps this team to know that they beat the cars that have been beating them most of the summer.
They are celebrating their 2nd win of the 2016 season. That will be talked about tomorrow on NASCAR America. It returns 6 o'clock weekdays. Again, on Monday it'll be a 90-minute show as they will discuss, you guys will discuss what took place here in Bristol. Then Saturday, Xfinity Series racing from Road America, and Sunday, Sprint Cup Series racing from Michigan. Those will be on NBC SN. And guys, what can we look forward to as we have road course racing for the Xfinity Series and that very high-speed racetrack of Michigan coming up for the Cup Series?
Well, I'm really excited to see for the 2nd time or 3rd time this year that super low downforce package, and this is what the drivers want. They want less downforce. They want the cars to slide around more. They think it allows them to pass more. So really interested to see what happens there next Sunday.
Yeah, when you look at Road America, you think now that the Sprint Cup and the Xfinity are at different locations, I love when those races happen because the Xfinity stars get to shine, and that's what we saw with Justin Marks winning in the rain a week ago at Mid-Ohio. Perhaps Road America, rain or no rain, we're going to see those Xfinity regulars beating and banging on the road courses because they have that chase coming as well. They have guys, only 3 got teams walked in with wins. Some are looking good on points, but that road course can change the complexion back there in 9th, 10th, 11th in points.
Celebration will continue for Kevin Harvick, but then he'll have to focus again on Michigan, as you were talking about.
And as we see Kevin Harvick, I think it's really important to mention how great of a job Bristol Motor Speedway did. Worked very hard in that low line. You see it right there above victory lane. We heard the drivers talk about it. It didn't, it wasn't the preferred line or more dominant than the top, but a great option for these race car drivers. And we saw great racing and great passing because of it.
It gave options that were not there before this change was made. So I just believe it was a plus. It made the racing better. And I think now that they've done it, they learned and they can make it even better yet.
We really appreciate the yeoman's job that everyone has done, especially on this NBC crew, sticking it out through the rain that we had last night and then the rain again today as we went from a night race, a Saturday night race, to a Sunday afternoon race. And it ends up that Kevin Harvick gets the win in front of a great crowd that stuck it out here and was able to enjoy. Drano making his last showing of the year before he heads off. But it was wild racing, as we always expect at a short track. Kyle Busch was dominant early, but in the end, helmet thrown once again at Bristol. Tony Stewart making his final Cup Series start at Bristol. Kevin Harvick getting a win for his team. Coming up next, it's Jim.
Let's do this.
Toyota, let's go places.
Hey, Gary, I heard you switched to Geico.
Yeah, saved money and got a lot more.
More?
24/7 access to licensed agents.
I guess more is more.
Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more.
It's such an honor and a privilege to be named to the first USA Women's Olympic Rugby Sevens team. We want to go onto the world stage and make our family, our friends, and our fans just proud of us, and hopefully bring home a medal. If it wasn't for college athletics, I wouldn't be where I am right now. Honestly, just the pride to go out and represent the United States and just know that I gave everything I could have possibly given to my team and to my country.
Von Miller with the center. Denver Broncos have won Super Bowl 50.